Good morning. Fired up to be here. I kind of did my opening statement yesterday when the release came out, so I figured we'd jump right into questions.
Matt Fortuna.
Hi, Jim. Matt Fortuna, The Athletic. Good to meet you virtually. Can you just describe a little bit about the process? If this job comes open, you apply for it, or does Coach Fitz reach out to you? And once you get there, how do you kind of break bread and share your philosophy with the rest of the defensive staff that's been there for so long?
Yeah, we were still involved in the NFL season, and Fitz was kind of gauging my interest. Probably the last 4 or 5 years, I've had interest from Power 5 college programs, and I really wasn't interested. And then I talked to Fitz a few times, and the more I thought about it, this was probably the only university that I would make the jump back down to college football too, just because of the belief system that Fitz has is so much in line with my belief system. But the process kind of went as he asked me if I would be interested in talking to him about it. I told him after about 2 or 3 conversations that I would. And then we interviewed over Zoom, and then they brought me on campus for a face-to-face interview, and then things worked out, and I ended up accepting the position.
Amit.
Hey, Jim. Amit Malik with nusports.com. Someone asked Fitz this, but, what can you take from your NFL experience and specifically your most recent stops that's going to adapt to the college level, kind of also like pro schemes versus college schemes? Like, what are you most excited to implement with this group of guys?
Well, 5 years ago, I would say that college football and NFL football were like 2 different sports. And it was hard at times when you're evaluating guys for the draft because the schematics were so different, pass game wise, run game wise, alignment wise. But in the last 5 years, I've seen a lot of pass games, and I think Fitz mentioned this, kind of trickle down to college football, and I've seen a lot of the run schemes trickle up to NFL football. So the gap has really closed as far as schematically in college football and in NFL football, especially with how accessible video is now. College guys are studying the NFL game. NFL guys are studying the college game. But I'm excited to bring some pressure stuff that I've done in the past. Obviously, players are always excited to talk about NFL players. And I think that when you talk about NFL guys and how they went about their work and how they handled the offseason or how they watch tape, I think it's obviously a great opportunity for those guys to learn and grow and give them an edge before they might get to the NFL, because I can teach them, I can show them. I got an unbelievable library. It's one of the things that I've learned from John Gruden, to kind of keep your stuff, all your teach tapes, stuff that happens in practice, and I'll be able to share that with the guys, and it's just different, when anytime you pop NFL film on, guys' eyes kind of go from this to this. So I'm excited about it. There's some things schematically that I'm excited to introduce to the guys. I'm in the process right now where I'm trying to learn some of the things that they did best last year, and then I'm putting my twist on it. But when we implement the system, I got to be me. And even though that they've had a lot of success here defensively, there's some things that will carry over, but then there will be some new things schematically that we're going to do here.
Adam Rittenberg.
Hey, Jim. Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Welcome. You just kind of mentioned the schematics and being you and bringing in things that you've brought in or that you've done in the past. This is such a successful defense last year. I'm curious, when you're going to bring in a new concept or something new schematically, is the process of doing that different when the unit was a top 5 unit, top 10 unit versus something that needs to be rebuilt or that just kind of needs to be blown up and started over again?
No, I don't think we're going to blow it up. And I got 3 great position coaches who believe strongly in some of the things that they were doing. And Marty Long, our D-line coach, Timmy McGargle, our linebacker coach, and Matt McPherson, our secondary coach. So I think it's more creating our system. It's not blowing it up and putting in my system, or, what are we carrying over from Hank's system and the guys that have been on staff. It's okay, this is what you guys believe strongly in. This is where I'm coming from and what I believe strongly in. So let's make it ours. And some of the stuff will carry over. Some of the stuff will be new, but when the installation's done, it's going to be our installation. It's not mine. It's not what Northwestern was done. It's something that we're going to build together. And I think that that's exciting because it kind of gives a college twist with an NFL twist to it. So it's been fun, and we've been grinding, and we've put in some long days already, and we're almost through first and second down, but we got a long ways to go.
Michael Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Coach, Michael Fitzpatrick with Wildcat Report. I was curious in terms of scheme. I know, at least from what I saw in the NFL, when you were defense coordinator, you mixed 4-3 and 3-4 a little bit. And in the past with Hank, Northwestern was purely 4-3 basically. So are you going to keep mixing it, or what are you thinking in terms of 4-3 or 3-4?
I don't think it'll be personnel wise, which is usually always the big question. Are we moving from a 4-3 personnel to a 3-4 personnel? I do believe in multiple fronts because it takes the bullseyes off the guy's chest up front. So yeah, we'll probably jump in. We'll have a little bit more front variation than what they've had in the past, but yeah, we will. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. Yep.
Eli Carp.
Hey, Coach, Eli Carp with Inside NU. You just mentioned how this is going to be, our defense collectively on the defensive side of the ball. How helpful is it to have, the rest of the defensive staff that's been there and knows each other? When you come in as the new guy, how helpful is it, to have a lot of cohesion already with that group?
Well, what's great is that's huge, because anytime you're teaching players, you could say, hey guys, we're calling this, but it's just like this from last year. So anytime you can use same as teaching, I think it accelerates the learning process. But what also helps me is I know Marty Long, I know Matt McPherson, and I know Tim McGargle. Tim McGargle was a player here when I was a graduate assistant. Timmy came and visited me a couple times when I was a NFL coordinator and sat in on meetings. And so, 3 years ago, I came out here and clinicked these guys up on some third down stuff. In the offseason, Fitz brought me in, and I spoke to the offense about some of the stuff that Jimmy Leonard might be doing up in Wisconsin, because I coached Jimmy Leonard at 4 different places. So I'm really familiar with the staff, which really helps because the chemistry is already there with us, and I've stayed in contact with these guys, and they've done a great job staying in contact with me. But it's been helpful because we've been able to dive right into football, and it hasn't been us getting to know each other, or it's uncomfortable. Ooh, I don't know if I believe in that. I think guys feel confident enough to speak their minds, and it's made the meetings that much better.
Zach Wingrove.
Hey, Coach, Zach Wingrove, NUsports.com. I'm curious, what position group so far, obviously it's early, but has really jumped out to you just kind of watching the initial film on this NU defense?
I've been impressed with all 3 levels of the defense. I've seen about 6 workouts. We've had 1 winning edge workout last Friday, and I'm impressed with some of the guys up front in the D line, especially with some of the young guys. I'm looking forward to seeing them out on the grass this spring. At linebacker, obviously we got Bergen coming back, but there's 2 guys inside that we got to fill spots for, and those I've been impressed with their leadership in there. Some of the guys that we're going to look to count on, and I've been impressed with their work ethic as well. And then in the back end, we obviously have some guys that had great years last year, and then we got some guys that need to step up. So they're pushing each other out there. So I've been excited about all 3 levels of the defense. I'm excited going into spring to see which young guys are really going to make a move. Who's going to put themselves in position to earn a job, and then who's going to put themselves in position where I got to create a role for them. If there's a guy that's better than them right now, but we need to get them on the field and take advantage of their skill set. I think that's the one thing with the system that I grew up in, is it's flexible enough to take advantage of players' strengths and hide weaknesses, whether it's a player or whether it's a position group. So I think that's kind of where our scheme will start to sway once we find out who we exactly are, and that probably won't happen till sometime in training camp.
Amit.
I'm Malik again with nusports.com. Just wanted to ask about, when you were here as a graduate assistant, what it was like working with Coach Walk, what it was like working with Coach Fitz then, and, maybe if you have any salient memories from that time that really jump out to you, 15 or so years later.
Well, I would, the best memory is when we beat Ohio State here at Ryan Field. So that was an incredible memory. I remember being out on the practice fields and I think partying all night, and I think we went right in the office and worked the next day. So that was probably the best memory. I do remember walking to work every day. My wife and I live right behind the Bluestone down the street, and it's only about a half to quarter mile walk to work. And I remember in the winter freezing. Coming from Vegas, obviously the weather was a little bit different. My wife and family flying today, so it'll be interesting to see their reaction to the weather. But just with Fitz, I mean, I just remember the passionate guy, loves ball, always looked to take care of the young guys. You know, true leader. I always thought he did an unbelievable job with the linebackers. I mean, he was part of the reason that I ended up taking the graduate assistant job here. And me and him obviously always stayed in contact. And then here we are, however many years later, 18 years later, working with each other again. I remember Walk just doing a great job developing attitude in the players and building a belief system really in me that the things that take no talent are more important than talent. And that's what wins football games. So, and he believed so strongly that he could create that in players. And then you get players with talent, which is what they have now. They have talented players that do the little things the right way, that take no talent. And that's why they're having the success that they're having. So there's some great memories here for 2 years. And then, I mean, obviously, I think it really helped develop me, not only as a coach, but as a man, just because of the coaches I was around and just the belief system of this university. So it was a great experience. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to come back. I loved being around the players. I loved this area. I loved the culture of this university. And now you got the facilities and you got the winning tradition to back it all up. So I don't even think we've scratched the surface here.
Last question, Adam Rittenberg.
Jim, I just wondering, what do you look for most in recruits, or I guess now with the transfer portal becoming more prominent, that's also part of this, but what are the qualities that fit best with your scheme and that you'll be prioritizing from a personnel standpoint as you're at Northwestern?
I'm looking for guys that love to play football. If they say we got to play a doubleheader, those guys are all in. They love to play. They're not in it because of what football brings to them. All right, that's number one. Okay, I'm looking for guys that want to get to the ball, not guys that are willing because that's what a coach is telling them. Guys that are truly want to get to the ball. They're going to fly to the ball. I like to say with violent intentions. Okay, I'm looking for smart guys that aren't going to make dumb penalties. All right, in critical situations. Believe it or not, there's more football games that are lost than are won, and we've done a great job with that penalty wise and eliminating mental errors. And that comes all back to accountability. Be great at the things that take no talent: assignment, alignment, technique, your belief system, your effort, all that stuff. And then it's defensive football. I mean, I want guys that are going to make the middle of the field a scary place, and that's been my whole career. And that's not dirty, but that's football. If a guy comes over the middle, I want him to get hit legally. But those are the type of guys I'm looking for, and I'm looking forward to trying to bring some of those guys here to the program.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. Look forward to working with you.